What if I told you the secret to a flourishing, pest-resistant garden isn't a spray bottle, but, a subtle dance with nature itself? Prepare to discover how fostering a healthy ecosystem in your own backyard can turn it into a fortress against unwanted critters. Get ready to transform your garden from a battleground to a serene sanctuary. As gardeners, we've all faced that sinking feeling when we discover aphids clustering on our prize roses or caterpillars making Swiss cheese of our cabbage leaves. The immediate impulse is often to reach for the strongest chemical solution available, but what if there's a more elegant way? What if the answer lies not in dominating nature but in partnering with it? Today we're diving deep into the art of natural pest control, where your garden becomes a self-regulating ecosystem that works with you, not against you. Beyond the spray, why natural control matters. The conventional approach to pest management has trained us to see our gardens as war zones where the only good bug is a dead bug. This mindset has led many gardeners down a path of chemical dependency that's not only expensive but potentially harmful to the very environment we're trying to cultivate. Chemical pesticides don't discriminate between harmful pests and beneficial insects. When you spray for aphids, you're also eliminating the ladybugs, lacewings, and parasitic wasps that would naturally keep those aphid populations in check. Consider the hidden costs that extend far beyond your wallet. Chemical pesticides gradually degrade soil health by killing beneficial microorganisms that plants depend on for nutrient uptake. They can contaminate groundwater, harm pollinators essential for food production, and create resistant pest populations that require ever stronger chemicals to control. Many synthetic pesticides also bioaccumulate, meaning they build up in the tissues of plants and animals over time, potentially affecting human health through the food chain. The shift from eradication thinking to ecological balance thinking represents a fundamental change in how we approach gardening. Instead of viewing pests as enemies to be destroyed, we begin to see them as indicators of ecosystem imbalance. A sudden surge in aphids might signal that we're over-fertilizing with nitrogen, creating succulent growth that attracts these sap suckers. Spider mite outbreaks often occur when humidity is too low, or when we've eliminated their natural predators with broad-spectrum pesticides. Embracing natural pest control means accepting that some level of pest presence is not only normal, but beneficial. These small populations provide food for beneficial insects, birds, and other creatures that form the foundation of a healthy garden ecosystem. The goal isn't a sterile, pest-free environment, but rather a balanced system where pest populations remain below damaging thresholds through natural regulation. Creating an environment that welcomes beneficial insects is kind of like, hiring the world's most efficient security team for your garden. These natural predators and parasites, honestly, they work around the clock, targeting pest species with a precision that no chemical spray can really match. The key here is understanding what these beneficial creatures need and, providing those resources consistently throughout the growing season. Companion planting serves as both a pest deterrent and, honestly, a habitat creator for beneficial insects. Marigolds aren't just pretty faces in the garden. Their strong scent confuses a lot of pest insects, while their nectar feeds tiny parasitic wasps that lay eggs inside aphids and caterpillars. Dill and fennel attract hoverflies, and their larvae are just voracious aphid predators, while those umbrella-shaped flower clusters, they provide perfect landing pads for these helpful insects. Borage not only repels tomato hornworms, but also, attracts bees and other pollinators with its beautiful blue flowers. The concept of beneficial habitat, it goes beyond just planting the right flowers. Creating insect hotels from bundled bamboo canes, drilled wood blocks, or even small piles of twigs provides overwintering sites for beneficial insects. These structures give predatory insects like lacewings and native bees places to reproduce and shelter, making sure they'll be present when pest populations start to rise in the spring. Water sources are often the missing link in beneficial insect habitat. A shallow dish with pebbles for landing spots, a small bird bath, or even consistently moist soil provides the hydration that many beneficial insects need. Ladybugs in particular need water to lay their eggs and will often leave gardens that lack this essential resource. Diversity in plant species creates resilience that monocultures simply cannot provide. When you plant large swaths of the same crop or flower, you're essentially laying out a buffet for any pest that specializes in that plant. Mixed plantings confuse pests, making it harder for them to locate their preferred hosts while providing habitat for a wide range of beneficial species with different needs and hunting preferences. Hands-on pest management is, a practical approach that lets gardeners directly address pest problems as they arise. By inspecting your plants regularly and removing pests by hand, you can really keep populations in check without resorting to chemicals. This kind of attentive care not only protects your crops but also helps maintain a healthy balance in the garden ecosystem. Sometimes natural balance just needs a gentle nudge, and that's where subtle human intervention really becomes an art form. Manual removal might seem a bit old-fashioned, but honestly it's often the most effective and precise method for dealing with pest problems before they turn into full-blown infestations. Early morning walks through your garden, maybe with a cup of soapy water in hand, can eliminate hundreds of pests before they even have a chance to reproduce. Hand-picking larger pests like tomato hornworms, cucumber beetles, and squash bugs is surprisingly both satisfying and highly effective. These pests are often just too large or mobile for most beneficial insects to handle, so human intervention ends up being the most practical solution. The key here is consistency and timing. Daily inspections during peak pest season let you catch problems while they're still manageable. When manual removal just isn't practical, homemade sprays can offer targeted control without the environmental impact of synthetic chemicals. Neem oil, which is derived from the neem tree, disrupts insect hormone systems and feeding behavior, but stays relatively safe for beneficial insects when you use it correctly. A simple garlic and soap spray can deter many soft-bodied insects through both scent and suffocation, and a baking soda solution can prevent those fungal diseases that weaken your plants and make them more vulnerable to pest attacks. Physical barriers represent one of the most reliable forms of pest control, creating, literal shields between your plants and the creatures that would harm them. Row covers made from lightweight fabric allow light and water through while excluding flying pests like carrot rust flies and cabbage moths. Copper tape around raised beds creates an electric barrier that slugs and snails cannot cross, while individual plant collars made from cardboard or plastic protect seedlings from cutworms. The timing and application of these interventions matter enormously. Soap-based sprays should be applied in the evening to avoid harming bees and other daytime pollinators. Neem oil applications are most effective on young insects and should be reapplied after rain. Physical barriers need to be installed before pest populations peak, not after damage has already occurred. Building a balanced ecosystem is really the foundation of sustainable gardening. By encouraging a diversity of plants and beneficial insects, you create an environment where pests are naturally kept in check. Over time, this approach reduces the need for outside interventions and helps your garden thrive with less effort. It's all about working with nature, not against it. Building a balanced ecosystem is really the key to long-term garden health. The foundation of any naturally pest-resistant garden lies in the soil beneath our plants. Healthy soil creates healthy plants, and healthy plants have natural defense mechanisms that make them less attractive to pests and more resistant to damage when pests do appear. This isn't just gardening philosophy, it's biological reality, supported by decades of research. Soil enrichment goes far beyond simply adding fertilizer. Living soil teems with beneficial bacteria, fungi, and other microorganisms that form symbiotic relationships with plant roots. These soil microbes help plants access nutrients, improve drought tolerance, and even produce compounds that boost plant immune systems. Compost, aged manure, and other organic matter feed these beneficial organisms while improving soil structure and water retention. Watering practices significantly influence pest populations in ways many gardeners don't realize. Overwatering creates the humid conditions that favor many fungal diseases and soft-bodied pests like slugs and aphids. Underwatering stresses plants, making them more susceptible to spider mites and thrips, which thrive in hot, dry conditions. Deep, infrequent watering encourages deep root growth and creates soil moisture patterns that discourage many soil-dwelling pests. So, understanding pest and predator life cycles really transforms reactive pest management into proactive ecosystem management. You know, when you realize that aphid populations typically peak in late spring, it lets you time your plantings and create beneficial habitats so that natural predators are ready when they're needed the most. And understanding that many beneficial insects overwinter as adults means leaving some garden debris and plant stalks standing through winter, since that provides important shelter. The concept of pest thresholds becomes crucial in natural pest management. Not every pest actually requires intervention. For example, a few aphids on your roses might look alarming, but they're also food for the ladybug larvae developing nearby. Learning to tolerate low levels of pest damage while keeping an eye on population trends really allows natural control mechanisms to function effectively. By observing and understanding the natural rhythms of your garden, you can work with nature instead of against it. Embracing these approaches not only reduces your reliance on chemicals, but also supports a healthier, more resilient ecosystem right in your own backyard. So take a little time to watch, learn, and experiment. Your garden and all its tiny inhabitants will thank you for it. Your garden's future, really depends on thriving naturally. Becoming an effective pest whisperer means developing the observational skills of a naturalist. Your garden is, honestly, always communicating through subtle signs and changes that reveal the health of its ecosystem. Like yellowing leaves might indicate a nutrient deficiency, pest pressure, or even disease. An abundance of ants often signals the presence of aphids or scale insects. Understanding these connections, it allows you to address root causes rather than just treating symptoms. The journey toward natural pest control isn't really about achieving perfection. It's about celebrating progress and learning from both successes and setbacks. Every season brings new challenges and, of course, opportunities to refine your approach. That outbreak of cucumber beetles might actually lead you to discover the joy of beneficial nematodes, and the slug problem in your lettuce bed, it might inspire you to create habitat for ground beetles and garter snakes. Your choices as a natural gardener, honestly, extend far beyond your garden boundaries. By creating pesticide-free habitat, you're providing refuge for pollinators, birds, and other wildlife facing increasing pressure from development and chemical agriculture. Your garden becomes part of a network of safe spaces that support biodiversity and ecosystem health on a larger scale. The ripple effects of natural gardening practices inspire others in your community to reconsider their own approaches to pest management. When neighbors see your thriving, chemical-free garden, they begin to question whether synthetic pesticides are truly necessary. You become an ambassador for sustainable gardening practices that benefit both human and environmental health. As you continue developing your skills as a pest whisperer, remember that every garden is unique, and what works in one location may need modification in another. Climate, soil type, local pest and beneficial species, and honestly, countless other factors influence the specific strategies that will work best in your garden. The principles remain constant, but their application requires experimentation, observation, and patience. The transformation from chemical dependency to ecological partnership doesn't happen overnight, but the rewards grow more apparent with each passing season. Your plants become more resilient, your soil more alive, and your garden more beautiful and productive. Most importantly, you develop a deeper connection with the natural world, and a greater understanding of your role as a steward of the land you tend. Ready to start your journey as a pest whisperer? Subscribe to Smart Garden for more natural gardening wisdom, and share this guide with fellow gardeners who are ready to embrace the elegant art of working with nature rather than against it. Together, we can create a network of thriving, naturally balanced gardens that support both our gardening dreams and the wider web of life.